Welcome back to another Terranscapes video. This video is going to introduce you to the largest project I have ever done. There's tons and tons to talk about, so I'm going to bring you over to the computer and I'm going to show you, we're going to start off with all the drawings that I did and where I am right now. So there's a lot of material to go over, so I'm going to try to go over it briefly because I want to cover quite a bit, and I'll probably split this into maybe 2 videos. But this is this is before I got a scanner. We'll talk about that later. But this is the initial sort of sketch that I put together for the clients based on the notes that they gave me. Roughly the entire project comprises 3 boards. One board that has a river and a tower and a fortress wall. A second board that is going to be an elf town. And a third board that is going to have another open area with another fortress wall. And then a cliff with a tower entrance or something like that leading into it. The clients are playing Lord of the Rings, and they wanted this to be a set that could be scenario based. So they wanted a certain distance for the road traveled, widths to accommodate different kinds of units in terms of size for scenarios that they were developing, and some guidelines on the heights of some of the buildings. But for the most part, a lot of the information is, sort of blocked out structure. So I was, left to sort of interpret how to accomplish a lot of that within the actual set. So after doing those preliminary sketches, I decided to sit down. Those were like the very, very the very earliest sort of like, I don't know, what's going to go on here? And so here, now I just want to say right now, you're going to see a ton of stuff that's, in my opinion, crappy. And a lot of things have changed, so you just sort of roll with this as an introduction, and you'll see how things have been refined over time. But started discussing a little bit more about the actual layout, thinking about the gate, thinking about there's going to be a tower on top of this cliff. This is a large cliff. There's a key that corresponds to all of these numbers here that I've got. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it or will show it, but sort of gate towers, buttresses along the wall, laying out the thickness of the wall, all of that. The stream, there's going to be a waterfall here, that idea. And then here I wanted to try to get a preliminary idea of what the buildings and layout of the town section really might look like. There's a couple important elements that are going to go into this, and this is what these colors really denote, is that the clients really want to have multi-level access for the miniatures in combat. So what I've envisioned is sort of tall buildings that will have balconies and then walkways going across them to connect them. And I forgot to mention, that's kind of a big thing actually, that the town is, and this entire fortress really is what we're really looking at, has been captured by the Orcs, and the scenarios will be based on sort of, reclaiming it for the forces of good. Now, that meant that there's going to be there's going to be a lot of conversion work put into the town in terms of orcifying it, if you will. And so what I've done here is I've put in a few just like blocks, like this is orc construction, that sort of idea, to also kind of give me some flexibility to build structures that would also connect some of these upper levels. And then I was thinking about, we have to block access for units of troops so that they can't just cut across here. So this was, some buildings and then maybe some statues and a fountain with a garden, that sort of idea. And then this leads into the third board, and I wanted to put in these breaks in case there were options for maybe a larger number of troops streaming into this board for the third board scenarios, but then could also be put in place to restrict that access coming down just this main road. And this is a look at my initial ideas, and these will all be changed fairly heavily actually, but on having the fortress wall and having open tower tops that could be accessed to the tops, and then the gateway, and then some sort of a dais sort of style for these, where each of these is, I think these are 2 inches in height, so this would rise up to 6, and then there would be an embedded fortress sort of facing in the cliff wall itself with balconies to accommodate miniatures. There's more specifics that could be mentioned about all of these elements, but I just want to give you the rough idea. Okay. So with the general layout sort of roughed out, I decided to think about the fortress wall first. It's big. It's sort of, I thought it would lead the theme, if you will, going towards the buildings, what kinds of stylized elements are going to be included. And I have done some research on fantasy buildings and how they are, sort of integrate other thematic elements from modern architecture. And one of the things that I noticed is that, and I'm going to revisit this concept in a little bit, but that the Lord of the Rings elf buildings incorporate a fair amount of Middle Eastern architecture, as well as some obvious Gothic architecture and some Asian influence. And I'll talk a little bit about some of that later. But that's sort of what I was trying to go for when I was designing some of these columns and elements to go, sort of a buttress to go along the facing of the wall. And this totally doesn't work. Like I said, none of this works actually at all for me. And so, but what I liked though is I decided let's make a little arch, something that's sort of an entrance greeting, and then I just copied as best as I could some of the text off of the One Ring from the actual movie. And then, oh, by the way, so then I got a scanner. So now I've been scanning in stuff. That has helped to some degree in organizing things. Yes and no, but in any way, at least I'm not taking photos of paper anymore. So here I decided, okay, so there's the before. Now what does it look like after the orc occupation? And I used some of the elements that were similar to when I did the Evil Castle, which was also orc sort of occupied. And you looking at images of Mordor, of course, lots of spiky bits. So I thought, why not have them converting in things and then have structures that are sort of being erected to do conversion work that has yet to be completed, and have like, right, they're disassembling this tower, and that's what this structure here is for, and then have the archway broken, and then have, a banner hanging from it representing the new occupiers. It will not be the Hand of Sauron, because that would be an IP infringement. And besides, there's got to be other leaders for the orcs besides, or Saruman. Sorry, I know you guys are going to give me a hard time if I didn't correct that. In any case, so this was the kind of motif I was originally working on. This does not work. This does not work. It does not work. It does not work. You're thinking about rapid fires, and of course I view my own work in just the same way I view some of the work that's submitted. And I can't remember, so then I wanted to show you building designs, and I can't remember exactly when I drafted this up. If it preceded the wall, it might have actually, but I just sort of started trying to draft up something. I don't know. I just put ideas down on paper and see if they worked or if they didn't. One of the things that I wanted to have was sort of a vine-like motif for the railings and some of the supports, and then trying to emulate some of the Gothic archway, and then take a stab at maybe some elf iconography, and I don't know. This building looks really big now, actually. If this is a doorway, I don't know what I was thinking. That's not a good one. So after having done that initial draft, I decided to start trying to just rough sketch out a little more quickly, of course. These are the labels for the drawings in chronological order. We're gonna probably see some out of order because I don't know. This is all, and when I scanned it, they all went in as PDFs. It's all messed up. So this isn't even rotated right. Jesus. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. This is gonna make me crazy. Okay. So here I started thinking about, you know, different buildings, maybe some quick designs. What could I capture? You know, bridges. Really didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. Then I started on this building, and I decided that maybe I could work with that, and I started putting in a little bit more details, drafting up, like this would be one of the major buildings inside the town. Those are going to be maybe as much as 12 inches tall. So let's go for a big one. And I kept refining it and ended up here. And yeah, oh, you can see here how long ago I did that. This was when we were beginning to discuss the project. I don't know if that's in the frame, but that dates a while ago. But this does not work at all. I don't know, I wanted some of these domes. I saw some in Rivendell. I thought I'd go for that. Here's my ivy, you know, railing, and here's, you know, me tapping into that Gothic archway a little bit more. And this is really bad composition. This is elements that don't work well together. This needs major refinement, you know. Well, anyway, at least it gave me a sense of what I don't like. This building, I went back and I decided to take a fresh approach, and I decided to, this is after I had done a little bit of my research. I was thinking, again, Middle Eastern, trying to capture something that's multi-level, so we could have a large balcony here, perhaps a couple towers. I wanted to change this to some minarets at this point and make them a little bit taller and more narrow. You know, have little walkways, doors, you know, leading out to little balconies, windows, that sort of idea. Still, not really enjoying where I'm going with that. You're gonna have to bear with me while I do some flipping and flopping around here. So this was a top view of where I was aiming. Actually, I did this, I think, before that. But, you know, I wanted spaces for miniatures to be able to stand so that they could have combats on multiple levels. I did profiles from different directions.